This compost pile, when it arrived back in November, was too hot, and now today I've been digging, spreading it out into the field here, and it's just full of worms. There's worms everywhere, so I think that's a good sign. The compost is good, and I hope that's a good sign for spreading it on my beds right now. It's March.
Hi. Well, I don't have as much of an action-oriented video for you today because what I spent most of the day doing is moving compost into beds, and you've seen me do that in other videos enough. It's not super exciting, but it is time-consuming and tiring. I don't have the stamina to do it for a full 8-hour day. I did it for about 3.5, 4 hours. I'd say, no, about 4 hours, because I did it for 3 hours, took an hour break, and then did it for another hour to an hour and a half or so, but very slowly. And so I decided I'd just stop doing that and then do some seed activity. So I just thought I would share in this segment, I would just share some things that are going on in the garden and some observations, as we're approaching mid-March, things that I hope I remember for next year as well. So I'm still struggling. You may have seen me talk about this in my last video, that I had the big load of compost that needs to get put out into my various garden beds, and because I've got one loading area that needs to get out so that I can actually get a load of potting soil, and also at this point I also want to get a load of cedar wood chips for paths to put in. And so I was really hoping to knock that out this weekend, but I'm realizing that I don't have the stamina and strength to do that in 2 days, because there's still a lot there. So it'll probably take me another week or so. So maybe hopefully next week I can get a delivery of, next weekend that is, I can get a delivery of potting soil and wood chips or so. But anyway, that's what I've actually been doing. But some things that have also been going on is I feel really behind in the garden, and I think I need to work on my winter activity timing more, because as I was thinking about this, I was kind of journaling for myself and thinking about how this works. And ideally I would have had the compost just done with. I would have had it out into the garden and compost spread by, say, the end of December, so that when I rolled into January, I would have both the loading area available for potting soil, and also I could focus more and enjoy more of the time to spend on starting seeds. And I know it sounds weird to start seeds in January, but if you see my prior videos, you know that I did it, and I think it's the right timing in terms of starting seeds on things like artichokes and onions that I grow from seed. They're all doing well in the greenhouse right now, and so I think that was the right timing. So I do have some seeds that start, and having the potting soil at that point would be ideal. So yeah, I think all this compost spreading activity, I'm now in mid-March and I'm still spreading compost. I need to get that done by December, really. And so I probably this coming year will have it delivered by the end of September, let it sit for a month or so in October, and then start the process in November, and with the goal of having it done by the end of December would be the ideal scenario. And that also means, the time for doing like a new infrastructure project, because as if you've been watching my videos, you know that I was working on this big potting bench project with a pergola over it. And I should have a short window for that. I've got to do that like December, January-ish, and then need to be done with it, because we're in prime time seed time. And so I don't want to lose time. My potting bench is about 3/4 of the way done, but there's still like things I want to do with it, but I've had to put it on pause because I don't want to lose time right now on planting new seeds and potting things up. There's things that I planted back early February that are now ready to pot up into bigger pots. And so I got to do that. And, things like even the tomatoes that I planted back by mid-February are ready to go into bigger cups where they'll kind of hang out here in the greenhouse until time to plant out, which will be sometime between April 15th and end of April, I think. So yeah, that's kind of some of the things that are going on, why I feel a little bit behind, because I got a lot of seeds that I still want to plant, and that now's the time to get them planted, the ideal planting time. So I need to spend my time on getting those seeds planted. I've also got here in the garden, here in the greenhouse, I have those onions that I planted. They actually are ready to go out in the field. The temperatures are fine out there right now for taking on these onions. So I need to get my onions planted in the field. I also could be planting some of the pansies out in the field. At this point, they can handle the temps that we have. I've got peas, which could be ready to plant out in the field, but I'll give them another week or so before I do. Peas, I only get them started in trays, and then I get them into the field as soon as possible usually. So a lot going on that front. It was 85 degrees in the greenhouse this morning with the doors shut. So we're now in the part of the year where it's still cold outside, but the greenhouse can be too hot for the plants if I don't regulate the air temperature in here properly. So I need to, in the morning when I come in, I need to open the doors. I've got some plastic back here kind of covering up a window, so I need to take that down and open up the window. So I need to open everything up during the day when it's sunny so that it stays, the airflow stays in here and it doesn't get, above 75 or so, especially this time of year. I'm trying to grow like cool season crops. And then close the doors at night to try to kind of keep as much heat as we can in at night, although that's not going to do much at the end of the day when it gets cold. At the coldest part of the night, this in here will be as cold as outside. In terms of nighttime temperatures, we now, looking at the weather report and also what we've been experiencing, we're kind of getting close to in the low 60s during the days and to the low 40s at night. It does look like we do have still a few days that are going to be going all the way down to like 33 degrees or so. And so they're kind of interspersed, and that's kind of a typical Portland end of winter, beginning of spring scenario. So it's not, today was a beautiful day and it's really tempting to think, oh, spring is here, but that's not really true, especially when you think about the nighttime temperatures. So I'm trying to be careful about not getting over eager about planting things out in the field and everything like that, and kind of get those timings. So it's really getting my seeds done and my compost out. And so what I'm going to be doing now, since I'm tired, it's kind of later in the day. It's still only about 4:30 p.m. here. So, but because I'm too tired to kind of wheelbarrow a compost, I'm going to go down into the basement, work on my seeds, and have fun with that. And that will be that'll be my gardening activity. And then maybe tomorrow when I'm rested and it's light again, I'll be able to come back out and do more compost moving and get that piece of it done. So I'm not too far behind, but I'm behind enough that I kind of have to put my potting bench project on hold on doing anything more with that. It's functional right now. I've got the sink working. I've got the space out there that I can actually pot stuff there if I want to, kind of thing. But I still got more parts of the project that I planned on that I want to get done. And I want to get it done before we really get into before the last frost date and we're really getting into the heavy gardening season, because I don't want to spend my gardening time making a potting bench. I want to spend my gardening time gardening. So that's that's where I'm at with things. Yeah. But it's fun. I try not to, I feel some pressure, but then I remind myself I'm doing this for fun, so keep it fun and don't overload yourself. If you're like me and you have all these great goals, and it could stress you out if you're not careful. So I tell myself, and I tell the rest of you the same thing. Remember, you are doing it for fun. This is not what I do for money. I'm not living off this. So, yeah, I think that's it. Well, I was gonna put this in the video and also for myself for later to think about is, I think where the temperatures are now, when I pot up the tomatoes into bigger pots from the cell trays in the pots, I think I could have them out here, and that way I'm not taking up space with bigger pots in the basement nursery. I think you can have them out here in the greenhouse. I think the temperature at a point where that could work, and particularly if I am not able to do that until next week, then I think that'll be the case. So coming soon, we may very well see tomato plants here in the greenhouse, filling out the greenhouse. I also have the full-grown pepper plants that were overwintered, and I've got to bring them out here at some point. But I think I'm going to wait until I don't see the possibility of those 33-degree nights in the weather report. When the nights are more consistently like 40 degrees and above, then I think the peppers will survive okay out here, and that'll free up my basement nursery space as well. Okay, everybody, I'll talk to you later.